Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
Good evening, welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jaffrey. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 23rd of August. Indian Prime Minister Modi addresses Indian community in France. Pakistan slammed at UN for repressing minorities. And Hindus in India, Nepal celebrate birthday of Lord Krishna. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in France as part of his three-nation visit on Friday, addressed the Indian community at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. Prime Minister Modi earlier on Thursday met French President Emmanuel Macron. Both the leaders, during a joint statement, called upon all countries to work together for rooting out terrorist safe havens and infrastructure.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday said that in New India, corruption, nepotism, loot of public money and terrorism were being tackled like never before. Addressing an event of Indian community at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris, Modi asserted that the resounding mandate of 2019 parliamentary polls was not just for a government, but for building a new India that focuses on ease of doing business while ensuring ease of living.
आज नए भारत में भ्रष्टाचार, भाई भतीजावाद, परिवारवाद, जनता के पैसे की लूट, आतंकवाद, जिस तरह लगाम कसी जा रही है, वैसा पहले कभी नहीं हुआ.
Prime Minister Modi met French President Emmanuel Macron on Thursday at the gilded Chantilly Palace near the French capital ahead of a G7 summit in southwestern France that will start on Saturday. Apart from one-on-one talks, Modi and the French president also addressed a joint statement. Both the leaders called upon all countries to work together for rooting out terrorist safe havens and infrastructure, disrupting terrorist networks and their financing channels. Modi said New Delhi and Paris would work together to face the challenges posed by militancy and climate change.
An Indian army soldier lost his life in a ceasefire violation by Pakistani troops along the border in India's Jammu and Kashmir on Friday. This was the third Indian casualty in a week due to unprovoked Pakistani firing along the border.
An Indian army soldier lost his life in unprovoked firing by Pakistan along the line of control or LOC in Rajouri district of India's Jammu and Kashmir on Friday. The soldier, who was stationed at a forward post in Naushera sector, was identified as Rajiv Thapa, a Gorkha Rifles soldier. Residents living in border villages expressed fear as for the past week Pakistani troops have repeatedly targeted Indian positions and civilian areas, leading to loss of life and property. There have been 3 Indian casualties since August 17 due to unprovoked ceasefire violations by Pakistan.
हम तो अभी अपने पड़ोस में एक साथ में दूसरा बैंकर बना हुआ उसमें थे. अगर घर की छत पे पड़ता तो क्या छोड़ता. पाकिस्तान की तरफ से तो डेली की डेली हरकत यही है. ये तो सबूत है हमारे पास. ये देख लो ना, ये पाकिस्तान की तरफ से आया हुआ गोला है.
Construction work for bunkers in the border areas has been underway on war footing amid the growing incidents of Pakistani troops targeting civilian areas. Residents hope the bunkers will prevent civilian casualties.
Sri Lanka on Thursday issued a statement saying that President Maithripala Sirisena never supported Islamabad on the Kashmir issue. This came after Pakistan claimed that Sirisena had acknowledged the Kashmir issue and advocated resolving it under the UN resolutions.
Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena dismissed a claim by the Colombo-based Pakistani High Commission that he had advocated resolving the Kashmir issue under the UN resolutions. The President's office in a statement on Thursday said Sirisena did not comment on issues pertaining to India and Pakistan during his recent meeting with the Pakistani High Commissioner. The statement clarified that Sirisena gave a patient hearing to the Pakistani High Commissioner and did not make any comment on the issues pertaining to India and Pakistan. This comes as Pakistani mission in Colombo in a statement on August 21 said that High Commissioner Shahid Ahmad Hashmat met President Sirisena to apprise him about the current situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The statement said that President Sirisena acknowledged the Jammu and Kashmir issue and expressed his desire that it should be resolved under UN resolutions. The development comes in wake of India ending Jammu and Kashmir's special status and bifurcating it into two union territories earlier this month. India has maintained that Jammu and Kashmir is its integral part and the issue is strictly internal to the country.
Moving on, the US, UK and Canada slammed Pakistan and China at a UN meet on Thursday for persecuting and repressing their religious minorities. They expressed concerns over undue restrictions on religious freedom in both the countries.
Pakistan and China were slammed for persecuting and repressing their religious minorities at a UN meet on Thursday, with the US and UK calling out both nations for the oppression faced by Christians, Ahmadis, Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities. The speakers expressed concerns over the increasing widespread and undue restrictions on religious freedom in the two countries. They also pointed out that in China, national security was being used as a pretext to curb religious freedom of the minorities.
Religious minorities continue to suffer from persecution, either at the hands of non-state actors or through discriminatory laws and practices. We appreciate Poland inviting Naveed Walter to speak today about the challenges to religious freedom in Pakistan.
Today, the large groups of people are marginalized in their own societies. The biased behaviors develop in other areas also, like the minorities on basis of religious affiliation, as like in Pakistan, the Ahmadiyas having the situation. Like China, the growing number of countries uses national security as a pretext of restricting religious expression.
China has been long accused of oppressing the Uyghurs by sending them to mass detention camps, interfering in their religious activities and sending the community to undergo some form of forceful re-education or indoctrination. Meanwhile, Pakistan is blamed for discriminating against its religious minorities, which is manifested in various forms of targeted violence, mass murders, extrajudicial killings, abduction, rapes and forced conversions to Islam, making the Pakistani Hindus, Christians, Sikhs, Ahmadiyas and Shias one of the most persecuted minorities in the region.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani has said it was essential to include government in any potential peace negotiations with the Taliban. His remark came as talks between the US and Taliban officials moved to another phase of the process on Thursday.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani has said it was essential to include government in any potential peace negotiations with the Taliban as talks moved to another phase of the process. Ghani's remarks came as the United States and the Taliban officials resumed talks in Qatar on Thursday to firm up a peace deal and end the 18-year-long war in Afghanistan. Taliban has been demanding the withdrawal of about 20,000 foreign troops, most of them American, who are in Afghanistan as part of the US-led NATO mission to train, assist and advise Afghan forces.
طالبان یک جزء از این مملکت هستند، تعیین کننده سرنوشت از این مملکت نیست. انتخابات حق مردم افغانستان است. مردم افغانستان تصمیم میگیرن که دولت مشروع داشته باشه. هیچ حال است. هر چیزی که طالب بخواد. من از کسایی نیستم که پیش طالب با عذر و زاری برم. با عزت، با قوت، با قدرت میرم پیش طالب و امروز مذاکره جدی میکنم.
The Taliban and the US have held discussions over a potential agreement on 4 key issues, including complete withdrawal of US and NATO forces, an intra-Afghan dialogue, and a permanent ceasefire. Ghani, who is seeking re-election in September, has always expressed will to be present in any potential peace negotiations with the Taliban as they move to another phase of the process.
Another attempt to begin repatriating thousands of Rohingyas who fled a military crackdown in Myanmar in 2017 failed on Thursday as the refugees refused to return voluntarily.
An attempt to begin repatriating thousands of Rohingya Muslims living in Bangladesh failed once again on Thursday after nearly 300 refugee families refused to go back to Myanmar. Last week, August 22nd, was agreed by both Myanmar and Bangladesh as the start date for the return of 3,450 people of more than 730,000 who fled a military crackdown in 2017. Since the plan was announced, United Nations staff and Bangladesh officials have interviewed those cleared for return to determine if they want to go, but none of the 295 families have agreed to go back.
What we know about the situation in Northern Rakhine, we do not think that the situation is yet ready for any significant return. But I think we need to work to make it ready. We need to work so that the situation can be conducive for returns.
A similar plan to start the repatriation of the Rohingyas in November failed when none of the refugees listed for return agreed to go voluntarily. The refugees said they want to return home but under specific conditions, including guarantees of citizenship and security and improvement in the lives of Rohingyas living presently in Myanmar.
Devotees in India and Nepal on Friday thronged temples to celebrate the festival of Janmashtami, which marks the birth of Hindu Lord Krishna. The festival is observed by bathing and makeup of Krishna's idols, a ritual performed with great zest.
Devotees across India celebrated the Hindu festival of Janmashtami on Friday, which marks the birthday of Lord Krishna. Scores of people thronged at the famous ISKCON temple in India's southern Bengaluru city for the celebrations. The temple is dedicated to Lord Krishna and Goddess Radha. The devotees offered prayers to Krishna while dancing and singing religious hymns on the special occasion.
Today morning we had Aarti at 4 a.m. followed by Abhishekam of the Lordship Sri Radha Krishna Chandra. You see, when Krishna was born 5,000 years back, Mother Yashoda bathed Krishna. She did a ceremonial bathing with all the Panchamrita and then the special water and the flowers. The same thing is followed even now.
The festival was similarly celebrated in Nepal's Lalitpur district, where devotees stood in long queues outside a temple to celebrate the birthday of Lord Krishna. Janmashtami in the Himalayan nation is celebrated in a grand manner to cherish the life and teachings of Lord Krishna for a happy and prosperous life.
आज कृष्ण जन्माष्टमी हो अनि सबैले आज कृष्ण जन्मेको खुशियाली मनाइराख्छ अनि सबैले कृष्ण बनाएर लिएर आउँछ अनि कतिले व्रत राख्छ कि मेरो कृष्ण जस्तै बच्चा जन्मोस् भनेर अनि मैले पनि पहिले म 5 साल जति भयो यहाँ हरेक साल आउँछु कृष्ण बनाएर बाबुलाई अनि पहिले सोच्थे कि मेरो कृष्ण जस्तै बच्चा जन्मोस् अनि त्यही हो बच्चाको लागि.
Hindus believe Lord Krishna took birth in human form to kill his maternal uncle Kans, who was a demon king of India's holy Mathura town. Lord Krishna is also recognized as Gopal for his dedicated service to the cows as a herder, and Manmohan for the melodies he used to play on his flute, charming everyone.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.